Somewhere right now, a man in his 20s is lying in bed at 2 p.m. He's not sick. He's not lazy. He just stopped. Stopped applying for jobs. Stopped texting back. Stopped making plans he knows he won't keep. And the scariest part? He doesn't even feel bad about it anymore. There's a pattern spreading quietly across the world that almost nobody is talking about honestly. Men are withdrawing. Not dramatically, not loudly, just slowly stepping back from everything society told them to chase. Work, relationships, ambition, the future. In April 2026, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics recorded something that hadn't happened since 1948. 1 in 3 American men was no longer working, or even looking. Not a recession, not a war, just men choosing to disappear. In Japan, they have a word for it: hikikomori. People who retreat so completely from the outside world, they can go months without leaving their room. It was once considered a uniquely Japanese phenomenon. It isn't anymore. And here's what makes this uncomfortable. Most of these men aren't failures. They're not broken. Many of them are intelligent, self-aware, capable. They just looked at the game and decided it wasn't worth playing. To understand why, you have to understand what young men were handed. A world that promised them, work hard, and it will mean something. But somewhere between that promise and reality, something broke. The cost of living outpaced the wages. The relationships got harder. The social scripts that once told men who to be and what to do, provider, protector, builder, quietly became things to be mocked. And in the vacuum where purpose used to live, the internet moved in. Because here's what nobody explains clearly enough. The brain doesn't actually care whether a reward is real or simulated. Dopamine doesn't check credentials. When a man gets a kill in a video game, his brain releases the same reward chemical as finishing a real project. When he watches pornography, his brain registers the same signal as genuine intimacy. When an algorithm serves him exactly what he wants to see, his brain marks that as a successful social interaction. The modern world built a perfect counterfeit of achievement, and it's available 24 hours a day, in your pocket, for almost nothing. Why would you struggle for something real when something fake feels just as good and requires nothing from you? This isn't weakness. This is the brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. Finding the path of least resistance to reward. The problem is, that path leads nowhere. But there's something deeper happening underneath the dopamine. Something that the productivity content, the alpha male influencers, and the self-help industry almost universally miss. It's not that these men don't want anything. It's that they've been told so many times, in so many ways, that what they want doesn't matter, that they've stopped believing they're allowed to want things at all. Research on learned helplessness, a concept developed by psychologist Martin Seligman, shows that when a person experiences enough failure or rejection in an area, they don't just stop trying in that area. They stop believing trying is possible. The feeling isn't, "This is hard." The feeling is, "This is pointless." And when enough areas of life trigger that feeling, work, dating, friendship, the future. The logical response isn't motivation. The logical response is withdrawal. Now layer on top of that what modern masculinity actually looks like to a 20-year-old in 2026. On one side, he's told that traditional male identity is toxic, that ambition is ego, that stoicism is suppression. On the other side, he's being sold a cartoon version of strength, aggressive, isolated, transactional, emotionless. And caught between those two lies, a generation of men never learned what it actually means to be a person. Not a role, not an archetype, a person. Someone with needs, with fear, with grief. Someone who is allowed to say, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm exhausted. Here's the moment most videos won't take you to. The quiet quitting, the retreating, the numbing, the disappearing. It isn't a character flaw. It's a symptom of something that was never addressed. Grief. These men are grieving something they were never given the language to name. The friendship that quietly ended and nobody talked about. The relationship that collapsed without explanation. The career that was supposed to mean something and doesn't. The version of themselves they imagined becoming that somehow never arrived. They're not lazy, they're mourning, and nobody taught them how. We built an entire culture around telling men to push through, suppress it, perform, produce, provide. And when the performance became unsustainable, when the suppression filled every available space, when there was nothing left to push through with, the only thing left was silence. So they chose silence. I'm not going to tell you how to fix this, because this isn't a problem with a 5-step solution. This is a generation of men who learned that needing things was weakness and are now living inside the consequences of that lesson. The withdrawal isn't the disease. The withdrawal is the only language they had left. And maybe the most important question isn't, why did they stop? Maybe the question is, what were they never given permission to start? The men who are quietly quitting life aren't giving up on the world. They're waiting, maybe without knowing it, for someone to make the world feel worth showing up for. The question is whether anyone will notice before it's too late.